So, optics.
Optics.
They make, you can find binoculars for anywhere from $40 to $4,000 and everywhere in between. But I think there's a lot of mystery around why is there such a variety and spectrum here, and what am I looking for hunting? And I thought we'd take this opportunity to talk to a person who's very well associated with binoculars, spent a number of years with optic companies and
Since 25 years, actually. 25 years working in optics.
these are a pair of Swarovski binoculars that my dad gave me, it's gotta be 30 years ago, and now I still carry them around. They're a little heavier than some, but the quality and crispness of the picture was worth it, I thought.
That's the advantage of buying something really nice, too. Just the longevity. Think of how many boots you've worn out, how many vehicles you've gone through. Well, if you got them 30 years ago, those binoculars are, 35 years at least. It's not too many things we have these days that are that old that work like they did the day you bought them.
And what I've noticed with these over the years and these other models is that it's nice and crisp and clear all the way out to the edge of the field of view. And when I'm glassing a hillside in the far distance, I can put those up, see a big part of the hillside, and like with my eyes kind of search that area rather than having to search all around,
Kind of like in hunting we have, shooting light. Well, you also have observation light. How long can you see things clearly? And with a pair of really high-end binoculars with the light transmission, the color contrast, you're going to get an extra 45 minutes of glassing at the beginning, at the end of the day with a pair of really high-quality binoculars as well. So it's not just that clarity on the edges, but also the brightness and the light transmission. And it's a plus that just lasts for 35, 40 years.
And you touched on brightness, which I think is really critical in the hunting realm, because that first and last hour of daylight are often when the most activity happens. And some of that has to do with the numbers, the magnification and the objective lens, but also just the quality of the glass, the quality of the build.
Exactly. It's both of those things, right? So you might have an 8x25 or a 10x50 or a 12x42, right? And that first number we're talking about, that's going to be the magnification of the binoculars. That's how much power the binocular has. And one of the things that often people can think is more power is better. Why would I get a 10 power pair of binoculars when I can get 15 power? But it doesn't quite work that way, because as you increase the power of binoculars, they become a bit more challenging to use. When we were out here using these 14x52s earlier, you noticed they're difficult to hold steady. Imagine if you're hiking up a ridge at a high elevation, you're breathing hard when you get up top and you're looking through them, the whole world is shaking like you're on a boat on the sea. So oftentimes there's this balance between magnification and usability. And that gets us down to this, what that second number means. After the first number, which is always the power, you're going to come up with this larger number, which typically is like a 42 or a 50 or a 30. And what that is that's the size of this front lens right here. You've got a 42 millimeter binocular, a 52 millimeter binocular, and a 30 millimeter binocular. And so the bigger that front lens is, the more light the binocular gathers, which is great. But the downside is that you're carrying more weight, costs more money, etc. So once again, like with magnification, it's a balance. Bigger doesn't always mean better. If you're doing astronomy, get a 60 millimeter lens binocular that you can mount on a tripod. But if you're going on an elk hunt, you don't want a pair of astronomy binoculars. The manageability and the portability become an issue. And everyone loves something small and lightweight. This is easy to carry around all day long, but in low light conditions with this 30 millimeter lens, it's not going to give you the brightness that you get with a larger 42 millimeter lens.
So which ones would you carry in the field for hunting?
For a hunting binocular, the 10x42 definitely would be the go-to size. And Swarovski Optic NL Pure right here, which is kind of like the current version of what this binocular was in the 90s. This was the ultimate hunting binocular in the 90s, and today this is the NL Pure 10x42, the ultimate hunting binocular. How it's going to vary, a lot more color neutral. They weren't going for color neutrality in binoculars so much as they wanted low light contrast for hunters. But then bird watchers became a bigger market, and so color fidelity became a much more important thing for optics manufacturers.
So these are more true to color.
So you're going to have much more true to color here without sacrificing any of that contrast or low light performance.
I have carried these, especially midday hunts, short hunts, they're so light, you hardly know they're there. But again, mornings and evenings, I don't think certainly wouldn't be as light gathering.
If you're looking for the one size, does all multi-purpose hunting binocular, you can't go wrong with a 10x42, really.
talk to us a little bit about the adjustability.
Well, first of all, you have these eye cups that twist up and down. They're to accommodate eyeglasses. So if I'm wearing sunglasses, I'm going to twist these eye cups down and put this rubber bumper right here, right up to the surface of my sunglasses, because the sunglasses effectively push the binoculars from my face a little bit. Same with eyeglasses, right? It's just a mechanical barrier. So these eye cups go down, but without that mechanical barrier of eyeglasses or sunglasses in front of you, you want these eye cups up so that your eyes don't get too close to those lenses. When those eyes get too close, they kind of get some shadowing effects. There needs to be a little bit of distance from that lens to your eyeball.
Often I'm resting, these rubber right on
your brows. Yep, exactly. Whereas someone who wants to set them inside, they're going to want to have them twisted out more. So get the eye cups in the right position, put the binoculars up to your eyes. You adjust this interpupillary distance here, right? The center hinge that squeezes the distance between the barrels. And then you just turn your focus wheel and get a sharp image. And then you look through them, and then you can kind of check to see your left and right eye. The idea is you adjust the right eye to match your left. So the way you would do this is you'd find something at an intermediate distance that has some detail, close your right eye, put your right lens cover on, whatever you want to do, and get your left eye good and sharp, right? And then once you get your left eye good and sharp, take your finger off the focus wheel and check your right eye. And then if your right eye is not just as sharp, looking at the exact same object, you want to adjust the right eye to match the left. And that's what you'll do with the diopter adjustment. You adjust your right eye and get it looking at the exact same object, nice and sharp. Take your finger off it, check the left, and then your diopter is adjusted.
And the other fun fact with any binocular is you can use them as a rudimentary
microscope, like a hand loop. Isn't that cool?
If you need to look at a sliver or something, you turn it around.
Yep.
I mean, just briefly here, talk about optics for rifles.
Yeah.
And similarly, we've got a power and an objective lens, but a lot of times the scopes have variable powers.
Yeah. The variable zoom there is definitely a very functional feature, and almost all rifle scopes will have that variable zoom.
Yeah, a generation or two ago, it was standard to have a fixed 4-power scope. And a 3x9 is what I used growing up for a long time, and now you've got even bigger ranges. Just like you said before, more power doesn't always equate to better situation here. The higher the power, maybe if you're totally open country, long range shooting,
or if you're real steady too.
Yeah, but I really like the low power, because if I'm hunting in the timber and I've got a very close range, I'm going to crank that all the way down. I want at least 3 or 2 or 1.
Yeah.
Something is even better. It gives you a much bigger field of view, more light. You can get on target acquisition very quickly. But if your minimum zoom is like 6 power, like 6 to 20, and you can only go down to 6, and you're hunting in close quarters, you might throw it up and have a hard time even finding, or you see that you get on a deer and it's all fur. Some have a ballistic turret.
Yep.
Here, which I personally choose not to use. I like to sight my rifle in to be hitting a couple inches high at 100 yards or right on at 200 yards, versus a ballistic turret. It's a 400-yard shot. You crank this up to 400, and you hold right on.
Exactly. And the ballistic turret is configured to match your round. Depending on what round you're shooting, the ballistics are very different. So, the ability to calibrate those ballistic turrets to match a 6.53 Creedmoor or 308, whatever it is that you're shooting, so that you can just out to 400. I like the ballistic turrets myself. It's convenient.
Yeah. I've grown up hunting with old school hunters. And they're all the same mindset. Like, you don't want to be fiddling with your scope in the heat of the moment. And I
100%.
I've seen a lot of people miss shots because they've forgotten where this is set, or bumped it or whatever, and they're way off.
Yeah.
And so, our brains are still capable of doing a lot of quick calculations if we let them.
Yep.
Can't go wrong either way.
Like binoculars, clarity, quality, durability. It's a tool that you have out there, and hopefully you're not replacing it every 5 years or so, right? I mean, at Swarovski Optic, we very much have this reverence for nature and how we hunt, and so the motivations that are at the core of our values and whatnot, why we hunt, aligns so well with what human nature hunting does. And, as soon as I had a chance to meet you and kind of see the way that you are teaching hunting here, this is 100% the ethos and the values that we have. So, was really glad to support you guys, and wanted to make it a little bit easier of a lift for the alumni at Human Nature Hunting to jump into a really nice pair of binoculars right off the get-go. So currently we have some kind of special promotional offers on equipment through Human Nature Hunting. And I would say anyone who is attending a class, an alumni, get in touch with Bruce. He can give you details there. It's a coupon code you can use on our website for a bit of a discount as a way of supporting your efforts and really trying to get as many of these new hunters out in the field with the best tools for them to have the best experiences right off the bat. We think the work that you're doing here is exceptional, and the way that you teach your approach to the outdoors, we want to support that. And like I said, we want to get these new hunters off on the right foot.